Dude, look at this lineup. Of all of these, the thing that I like the absolute most, we have a purebred Australian Shepherd. Come on, Lola. Come here. Come on. All right, so I was gonna talk about the trucks and do the whole intro thing, but then the dog was in the shot, so I figured I'd talk about the dog a little bit, but you've seen enough. But then the dog got in the shot. Now I'm getting distracted, but that's just how it goes over here with the beautiful shop dog named Lola. So anyways, we have the 1965 GMC 2500, the beautiful giveaway truck. We also have this International Scout that I want to give you a little bit of background on how I got it, why I got it, as well as what I have to do. So something that I've done in the past that I am a huge fan of if it works out is bartering. When I first started my YouTube channel, I painted people's cars for free. I covered all of the cost of product as well as all of my labor in exchange for a shout out. They were happy with their car being painted. I was happy with the exposure. Also, with the square body C10 that I painted not too long ago, all of my tattoos, every single one of them was done from a barter deal from where I worked on the dude's car. Got my full chest done. That's actually my mother. That's my father, old military picture of him. I got all these tattoos in exchange for working on his car. He paid for product, but in the end it worked out really nicely because he did not have to come out of pocket because all he had to do was put some work into my tattoos. The owner's a tattoo artist. He owns Skeleton Goods. I have one of his banners in the shop. He's a really good friend of mine. So all he had to do was do a little bit of work. I exchanged it for a little bit of work. He was super happy with his truck in the end. Well, I think he was, and I was really happy with my tattoos in the end. Now another barter that just came up. I need interior to be done for my El Camino. The shop that does the upholstery, they needed a little bit of work done on a customer car. So we're figuring, let's make a deal. They need seat brackets for this thing to be made. So let's see if we can knock these things out of the park, get them done in exchange for getting the seats wrapped in my El Camino. Barters don't always work, but when they do, real nice. I don't know why I went bull rat, real nice. Let's get started. And now you're watching the full channel of YouTube. Wow, it's a BodeVision. Hey, so what is up and welcome. Thank you so much for joining me yet again on another video. So really quickly before we get started, let's knock out some business. We have the giveaway truck, my beautiful shop truck. I just drove this thing around for a good hour or so because it's nice and cool. This thing drives so nice. I'm pretty sad to let it go for sure, but I'm happy to know that it could end up in your driveway. So with this truck, the end of November, that is going to be it. That is the official deadline to enter. There's still a few slots left if you wanted to get in there. We might sell out by the end of the month. If we don't, you have better odds than you thought, or if it sells out before then and you didn't get it, I'm real sorry for you. So hit that link down below, get one of those slots now while you still can before the giveaway is over. Again, the end of November 2024 is a wrap. If you're watching this video way later, get caught up. So now let's go back a few days here where I just got the International Scout. So we have a little side quest that I need to work on. So the guys at the upholstery shop needed a little bit of fabrication work on this beautiful International Scout. So what we got going on over here, let me just fill you in, is we have this beautiful GTO seat that the guys over there rewrapped and whatnot, but the problem is we have no way to get it on the floor of this Scout. Now the floor over here kind of slants outward. This has holes in the bottom, but they kind of curve to the back. So what I need to do, number one, we need to establish a height. We need to figure out about where we want it. I'm a little bit shorter than the average dude, so I think I need it to be a little bit shorter, but also too with the GTO seat, this can actually rise and go down, forward and back. A lot of people like these GTO seats because of how nice and adjustable they are. So I need to adapt the floor to work with this rail. I almost need to build a rail for my rails, like Exhibit. We heard you like rails, so we built a rail for your rail. So the first thing I need to do is figure out what height I want it. They had also ordered these online, these little like universal things. So this would sit right here, and as you can see, this compensates for the slant in the floor, but then these holes don't line up with anything of these holes, so we're just trying to make a bunch of weird parts that don't even fit together not work. So why don't we just go ahead and scratch all this, start from scratch, figure out where I want the seat to be, build a rail accordingly, and let's just throw it on a time lapse and let's just get this thing knocked out. Little side quest, International Scout super cool truck. And in exchange for this little bit of figuring out, I'm getting my seats done for the El Camino, and those are going to look super solid. So let's get moving. All right, so here we are, first thing in the morning the following day. I'm getting out my welding table, and look at the welds. Look at the welds on this welding table. They didn't even prep the metal at all. They painted it and then stuck it together. So before I can use my welding table that I just bought about a week ago, I have to do a repair and weld this thing back together. I gotta weld the welding table so that way I can weld on it before I can even get started on welding everything else that I have going on. So let's get this knocked out really quickly, then we will get into figuring out this bracket. This bracket should be pretty easy. I'm gonna have a top piece going, bottom piece going, so that's piece A, piece C, then we're gonna have to build in piece B to fill in the gaps. Should be pretty easy. Man, that's dirty metal. Here's a little cold. So that'll hold. Now let's finish getting ready and we can figure out those brackets for the old International. Alright, so real good headway thus far. Let me show you what we got going on. So earlier I mentioned there's going to be piece A, B, and C. This is piece, we'll call this piece A. And if you can see, we got that down pretty good. So that attaches to the rail. As I made every one of these pieces, I doubled it, which is sitting over here, these guys, so that way the next rail is ready to go. So that is mounting to the rail that's already there. Now I have these are going to mount to the floor, but the thing is I'm going to put holes there, there, and there, as well as there, there, and there, and all of these are evenly spaced. So the distance from this first one to that first one is the same distance as the second one to the second one. And what I'm going to go with is I'm going to drill a hole in every location and then mount it in the car on the centers, so that way the owner of the International could bring it a little bit more forward if he needed to, or a little bit more back if he needed to. In addition to all of the adjustabilities of the rail, I just want to make sure no matter what, foolproof, it is going to be good to go. I think these rails have quite a bit of adjustability to them themselves. These are GTO seats with GTO rails. They go automatic forward, automatic backwards. They also actually lift and come down, and I think there is a lumbar support as well. So let's go ahead, get these holes drilled for the base, put the base in the car. I know how high up I want the rail to be, so we're just going to have to fill in that gap after the fact. Once everything is exactly where it needs to be, then we can focus on reinforcing it, then doing some plates and all of that other stuff. We're making quick work out of this thing, and let's not slow down. All right, so now that we have those base plates made, let me show you what we got. And just to give you a little bit of insight of what I'm doing and filming and stuff. So when I am filming stuff and I have to make two pieces, for example, that have to be relatively similar, a lot of times I'll just build one so that way I can kind of hone in the process. And then the next one, I will walk you through it step by step. It did not exactly work in this case because I didn't realize the floor was a little bit different. So let me just show you the driver's side and then I will come walk you through the passenger side. As you can see over here, this is the finished product, which I wouldn't want to show you till we're done, but this is what we are going for. Look how sick, how phenomenal this looks. When you open up the door, you're going to see those dimple dyes. That's the rail sitting there and everything looks good. You can see there are my 3 holes, the 1, 2, 3. As we come to the back, those 3 are over there, this side, and everything is looking super solid. But now going from the driver's side to the passenger side where I had to pivot a little bit, we have this part of the floor which was not on the other side, so I had to change this bracket here. I just have some self tappers holding it in for right now just so that way everything stays where it needs to be. So the way that I pivoted was by making 3 new holes so we can still go forward or go back based on center like I talked about earlier. Now that we have our base piece and this base piece is sitting on the floor that is angled, now I need to get the rail itself level with the earth, or at least level with the truck. If the truck is just a little bit off level, you're going to want to make everything match the level of the truck. So I need to go ahead, put the rail in here, shim it up, kind of change it, make some changes until I'm happy with it front to back, left to right. This base rail is the same exact width as all of the other rails, and I have it in the same place in the truck as far as front to back as this rail over here. So we are in really good shape. We had to change a little bit. Now this is not going to be the same exact design as the other side, but it is still going to work. Like I said, we're going to have to make a few changes, but we got it handled. So let's get the rail put up here, level it out, put a couple tacks in it. Once we have a couple tacks in it, we're going to remove the rail from the new frame that I'm making, weld everything out, then bring it back. It's a lot of figuring it out, tack it in, make sure it's good, weld it out, put it back together, make sure it's good. Once it's good, then we'll tear it down, repaint it, put it back together for the final time. So this is taking a little bit of time. I know earlier I mentioned that we were powering through it, and we're still making good time on it. So let's go ahead and get this side to match the other side, because that thing is looking phenomenal and we need them to match aesthetically. bracket, we got it set up and jigged up and all leveled out and matching the driver's side. The passenger side is the one that we are working on right now, ultimately going for making it match and be level and be all good. So we got that jigged up in the car, tacked together, and then welded out on the table. Now we are working on the base plate that you saw on the other side. So I have all my holes. The way that I did this was I did a center hole and then 2 on each side, making sure that the distance remains the same all the way across, so that way it's nice and uniform. So you know we gotta run some dimple dyes in this thing, because I like doing that. I think it's a really good look for the whole bigger picture. Let's go ahead and get it started there. And then we just go ahead and run this thing down. My dye, the threads are getting worn out, so I'm gonna have to retap the threads and redo them. Hopefully I can get through these 5 holes before I need to do that, because if I need to change it, it's gonna really mess with me, but we should be all right. Oh yeah, we popped through relatively easy. This is 18 gauge sheet metal. Doesn't need to be anything too crazy, just because it's an end cap. It is putting structure to the whole thing, but it also is pretty decorative at the same time. So let's see. I've also found that it helps to grease up everything. If it's all greased and whatnot, that helps with it. So you guys got to see in real time what it looks like. Here we go. We got one right in the middle, super solid. Really like this aesthetic for something like this, gives it a nice custom look. So I got 4 more of these to do, then we're going to get it welded onto the frame and get the frame installed for the final time. Once we know for sure everything's good, we will uninstall it from the seat, paint it, and then install it for the final time. Check that out, boy. All right, let's get these knocked out. So here we are with the final test fit. Make sure everything is looking solid. And as you can see, we are in there looking oh so lovely. The dimple dye holes there, they match the holes up there. I think the owner is gonna dig that. He's already liking the style. So if we check this thing out, we can see that it feels good. I look good, I feel good. The seat can go up from here. I feel like everything is pretty solid, and I'm super happy with this. So now let's focus on tearing this thing down for the final time, getting this thing painted, and then for the last install. So we got these guys painted. I wanted them to match this up here, which kind of has like a semi-gloss flat black look going to it. That's what I did over there. We did a direct to metal primer, scuffed that, and then went on top of it with the semi-gloss or flat black trim paint, and I think it is looking so solid. Seating position, it is really good, dude. We had to check a lot of boxes. Number one, make them level. Number two, not too high, not too low, not too forward, not too back, plumb or true, side to side. Everything looks good. I am happy with it. We can get the door to close over here. Now keep in mind, these are larger seats for such a small vehicle, but it works out. We are pretty close right here and then really close to the transmission tunnel, but I think we got 18-inch seats to fit in the 18-inch hole very nicely. So overall, I am happy with this. It was really nice to spend a few days not working on the El Camino. Don't get me wrong, I love the El Camino, but it was really nice to get my eyes and my efforts on something else that's just in and out. I might want to do some more quick projects every so often just to kind of break it up, because week after week working on the El Camino, I get tired of it. And it's not just the El Camino, it's really anything. If I'm working on something for too long, I just don't want to see it for a little while. So all in all, great success with this little side quest. Look at this view, man. Beautiful retro 80s looking El Camino. We have the International Scout. I had never worked on one of these, and it'd be cool to work on some more of them. I'm a fan. They're cool. They're different. You don't see them too often, and I like them. So if you guys could do me a favor, make sure you check out the links down below if you still want an opportunity to win that shop truck. Every entry that you guys have made thus far, I really appreciate it so much, because without doing those kinds of things, I could not continue to do what I am doing. And if you would like to support the channel in any way, go ahead and check that out for me. So like I said, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and I'll see you on the next one. I'm out.